have two more examples of graphing absolute value inequalities to show you. Again, you need to identify the vertex of the absolute value inequality first in order to do anything. The x value of our vertex is at -4, -8. So let's graph that point first. 4 spaces to the left, and then 8 spaces down. Next, you need to identify if the absolute value inequality is going to open up or open down, and that can be seen by determining the sign of our absolute value portion of the inequality. In this case, we have a negative sign out in front of our absolute value, so we're going to open down, and our graph is going to have this shape. Next, determine if it is going to be a dotted or a solid line once we graph. Look at your inequality symbol to figure this out. Our inequality says that it can be equal to, so it's going to be a solid line once we've graphed. I'm going to graph that. And lastly, determine whether or not you're going to shade above that function or below the function. Our y values need to be greater than all of this information, so we're going to shade above our function that we graphed. Beginning at the vertex, above means going up, so I'm going to shade on this side of my function graph. Your next example is y is less than the absolute value of x minus 5. Determining the vertex, we look inside of our absolute value function. It's subtract 5, so our vertex x value is at +5, and nothing is added or subtracted to the outside, so the y value does not change, it stays at 0. Graphing our vertex point, we shift 5 spaces to the right. Next, determine if our absolute value function is going to open up or down. Look at the symbol in front of the absolute value portion. There's no symbol there, so that means it's positive, and we're going to open up. And again, that has this general shape. Next, determine if the line that you graph is going to be dotted or solid. Our quantity has to be less than our absolute value portion. It cannot be equal, so we're going to use a dotted line to show that. And I'm going to sketch that in. And lastly, determine where you shade. Do you shade above our line or below? Y is less than our absolute value quantity, so that implies we're going to be shading below. Starting at the vertex point that we've graphed, shading below is underneath our function. So this is the side of our function that we will have to shade. All of our solutions can be contained in this shaded green area.